it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Just doing some general get stuff done today before we get to the meat of it. Van needed a wash because it still had all the bugs on it from Dinosaur Provincial Park from that drive out there. And I finally got rid of probably the 5th or 6th full garbage bag of clothes. I just donate it here. These can be found outside real Canadian superstores. I assume they go to a good place. It says it helps Diabetes Canada, so there you go. So it's all just clothes. Most of that one was my BAMF sweaters, sad, and a whole bunch of other stuff that I either barely wear, don't wear, or just won't fit in the van because I can't bring everything with me. It's all part of downsizing. So today, we are gonna get to finally installing the DC to DC charger. Again, it's just stuff that I've taught myself online, so we're gonna put that to practice again and keep with the theme of this channel. Let's, oh, and I need Rubbermaid bins because I don't think I'm gonna get all the storage in the van built before I have to be in it. So we're gonna jump in here, get some Rubbermaid bins that can fit underneath the bed when it's in the bed formation, and then let's install some DC to DC power. Oh, I'm getting really bad at this. I need like a technical assistant or something. I just, again, did a whole little spiel over what this is in time-lapse mode, just like I did in the first part of my electrical system. I guess these entries of my vlog are just cursed. Anyways, I'm gonna do it a little quicker then. Maybe I'll treat it like it was a rehearsal. This is the DC to DC charger. If you don't know what that is, essentially this is going to charge our house batteries while we're driving. One end connects to the battery in the van, the other end connects to the batteries in the house. We have to fuse both ends. We're gonna put a 60 amp fuse between the van battery and this unit, and a 50 amp fuse between the charger and the house batteries. The cable changes depends on how far away everything is. I had to get 6 gauge cable and I got 10 feet of it. I'm hoping that's long enough because what I want to do is I want to install this. Well, I want to install it under my bed. That would be great because I guess the fans can get a little noisy based on people's reviews. So that'd be a great place for it. But if not, I can mount it behind the driver's seat as well. The reason I removed my driver's seat is for 2 reasons. One, this thing needs power from the van when it's on, if that makes separate from the battery. So there's this little port here, this green section, there's a little D plus up there, and we have to run a smaller wire, like a 10 gauge wire into there and connect it to a power source that gets power once the van is running. So if you know, with your cars, you can have your cars off, or you can click it once and you get accessory mode and you get lights in your radio and whatnot, then you can crank it and your car will actually start, and that will go into another power mode. And we need this to get power from one of those when the car is running, so that this thing knows, okay, now I can start charging the house batteries, because if you didn't do that, this would just kill your starting battery. And I kind of want to switch that as well. I think I want to try to install a switch so that I can manually turn it on and off when I'm driving, just in case. So for that, I got these little fuse taps, and I found the Chevy Express has a fuse box underneath the driver's seat. I found actually 3 different fuses that seem to only get power when the van is on, so that should be perfect. We will use one of these, tap into that, and then the wire will run into that green port. And then also, this is supposed to be wired to the battery directly, like the positive and the negative, right? And then come through the firewall and into the house. But I want to try to avoid doing that because one, I don't think I have enough cable. 2, I don't feel like struggling and punching through the firewall. There is a grommet already, so I could probably do it. But this fuse box has a big thick cable coming from the engine bay that is powering the fuse box. So I'm hoping that I can just attach the positive cable to that lead and then ground it out, and that will work just as well, because power is power as far as I'm concerned. And trying to look that up online is next to impossible. I'm sure someone will be like, oh no, it's right here. But I tried to figure out if I could do that, and in my head, it's all still just one cable, just with a like break in it, but whatever. So I'm hoping that works just fine. So that's the second reason why that seat is out. And then we will run this through the battery box, have to drill a hole, and hopefully that is it. And then once we're done, because this is now connecting the house batteries to the vehicle, I will also have to run a ground from my house batteries up to that grounding point of the chassis of the van back there. So yeah, these things are pretty cool. If you're not familiar with them, they come in 3 different kinds, at least with Renogy. I went with Renogy because that's like one of the most popular brands with van life, and you can get it on Amazon fairly easily and fairly affordable. Like I said, I sold my nice 50-inch plasma TV to get this guy. But these ones specifically come in 3 different variations. You get a 20 amp one, a 40 amp one, and a 60 amp one. Here's one thing I forgot to do that I did do in the time-lapse mistake. The full disclaimer is that take everything I say with a bit of a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what I'm doing. I taught myself online. Everything that I'm going to implement today, most everything I've been implementing so far, I've learned online. I've watched other people do, because that's kind of one of the purposes of my channel, is to prove that you can do that very easily. All of a sudden it got really busy around here. I'm gonna have some coffee, hang on. So I guess I just feel like it's a little bit more important for me to say that disclaimer because we're dealing with power and electricity, and if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. I like doing new things and figuring stuff out on my own, and I'm taking as many precautions as I think are necessary. So that is pretty much it. So we are going to get started. And you don't need too much to do this, except that it's a little obnoxious that the charger itself doesn't come with any sort of wires or anything. So like I mentioned, I've got 6-gauge cable here, 10 feet of it. I got the fuses that we need. I also got the fuse tabs, lug, right? And I got this crimper, which is a very simple thing. Once I put the lug on the wire, we put it in here, and then we beat the hell out of the top of this with a hammer. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we can just wire this to the fuse box. That would be great, but we won't know till we try, so let's do it. All right, so I decided I'm not going to do step by step and film every single thing I'm doing in time lapse, me messing around with wires and stuff. I figured I'd just do updates as I go along, and I haven't made very much progress as it is. I've been farting around inside the fuse box here, trying to find fuses that only come on when the car is on. I guess I made a mistake a couple days ago when I was looking, because that doesn't seem to be the case. So I've been using the multimeter to determine which ones get power. It seems like this entire thing is pretty much powered all the time except for these 3 fuses here. So hang on, I'm gonna flip this around. This makes it so much easier to talk about what I'm seeing. These 3 fuses here, let me pull this tap out. So these 3 here, this 10, this one, this empty one was a 20, and then this 10, they all seem to be only get power when in an accessory mode or when the van is on. So I've taken out the 20, which is this yellow one, and this 10 from up here, because it doesn't seem to be doing anything. According to the diagram, it's for my front perk. I'll have to look into that a little bit more, but I never saw power coming to these ones, but a little 10 amp fuse will be easy to replace. So anyways, then the tap goes in here, right? Bada bing, bada boom. And then I've got the 2 fuses in there, and then this gets power, again, only when I turn the van to accessory or on. So I never run my van in just accessory mode, very rarely. But even in that case, another reason to switch this will be to turn it off if I happen to just be running the van in accessory mode. But either way, I'm not gonna let that deter me. It sucks that I can't actually check to see if the unit gets power yet. So I've got this cable in here. Oh, and by the way, world's smallest freaking screwdriver. I just happen to have this screwdriver on hand for glasses, and it works perfectly, but that's obnoxiously small. So you unscrew this, it loosens behind it. You shove the wire in, it kind of goes up like this, and then you screw it down, and a little tiny bolt tightens it down. So this wire's in there, but I can't get power to the unit to like test this. This is the end of that wire. And I think it's because the unit's not grounded. So unfortunately I can't test it that way. I'm gonna have to get it grounded at the very least on the input side, I believe. All right, so sad day. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna have enough of this 6-gauge cable to make it, but we're gonna press through anyway. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just gonna attach the lugs to this end of the cable, and then this is gonna be the house battery side. Then we're gonna fuse it and run it to the charger, get the charger hopefully mounted underneath the bed, and then see how much wire we have left. So I'm not gonna film all of it, but let's see how much of a circus this turns into with me using the hammer to crimp this down. not bad, not the greatest. There's still some wire exposed there, but the heat shrink will cover that up. Cool. All right, do it to the negative end. See you in a minute. So I've got one end of this wire, right, lugged and into this fuse. So this will run to the positive of the house battery. And then I've got this other end lugged. It's gonna go into the DC charger down there. This end I need to strip and put into this side of the fuse. So I just line it up to see about how much wire I need to expose, right? So about there, put that down there. Then this is all I've been using. I've just been using my Spyderco. Indent it with my nail. There we go. Boom. That looks like quite a bit actually. And then we just twist it, undo this bolt. Just gonna go. And once you're finally done fighting with it, now we got a fuse with two ends of wire on it. Perfect. And now I gotta cut the negative and get it lugged to run to the charger. Mom just texted me a picture of the boat on Byron's property. She says, it's all good, still looks the same. They're out there right now. House shopping. So I've got the wires cut and lugged and fused and ready to go for that end. But I figure before I go down the rabbit hole of figuring out how much more wire I need, I'm gonna connect them to the opposite side of the charger. So this side, which is the input side that will come from the starting battery, and connect them to the fuse box and see if that even works, because I'm hoping this thing will turn on once it has a ground. So let's give this a shot. It's a great angle. Van's disgusting. It gets so dirty in here so quickly. This is more work for sure, but it's kind of like all part of the work to figure out if this will function properly or not. Or if I'm gonna have to get a whole bunch more wire and run directly to the battery. And I think it's obnoxious about if I have to run directly to the battery for whatever reason. The GM batteries are side post batteries, which means I'm gonna have to get these stupid little attachment dongles, because you can't actually attach accessories to the factory GM battery natively. All right, so those are wired. So now my plan is, well, this is the power wire that's coming into the fuse box. Take that off, attach the power end or the positive end there, and then this down here is where I was getting ground when I was testing all of the fuses. So in theory, is this the right size? Of course not. All of my nuts and stuff throughout the van, I've been writing down, so like my brakes, front calipers, 18 millimeters, and so on and so forth. So I don't need any unnecessary sockets when I am in here full time. Fuse box under driver's seat, main end is 10 millimeters. Shocking, everything's always 10 millimeters. Ooh, not much voltage. 2.4 volts, what? All right, well, in theory it can work, so now I just need to get to the bottom of why it's being finicky. Okay, awesome. Maybe someone will correct me, but I think I found a solution. So that first ground that I was using, this guy right here, no good, right? I was only getting like 2 volts and everything coming through, but I found this one just behind. Now I've got the negative connected to it, and that is actually the chassis. I tested my multimeter along this entire piece of metal here, and it worked. And now we've got a nice solid green light. 12 whatever volts here on the input, and it's coming out at 14.7-ish. That's due to the dip switch. And this little light's not on. This one illuminates red, and it's got the lightning bolt going down with the mountain. As far as I understand, that means ground issue or no ground or something like that. And that's what that one was flickering on for a minute when I was connected to this old one. Now we seem to be good. So, I mean, this is still a sketch, but this is just to test it. So this is the D+, this is the ignition wire. If I undo this, that little green light will go off and the whole unit shuts itself down. And I'm only in accessory mode. So, but if I do this, put this back in, but if I turn the van off, the light goes off as well. So we are good to go from here. I don't have to wire to the battery as far as I can understand. And that is awesome that there was that ground there. So very cool. Now I need to figure out how much more wire I need. So we'll go put this where we actually want it to be. Oof. Got it. Nice hole. All right, bada boom. And bada boom. Building stuff. Anyway, this is upside down to me, so hopefully, I guess I could flip it in post. Watch this. Whoop. Okay, so I got the fuse to the house battery mounted just over here. You can't really see it, just on the other side of this leg. And then the cables are running right behind that leg. They're gonna connect here. And what I'm doing right now is I'm actually going to use 16 gauge wire for the ignition wire, and it's gonna be better than that initial wire we were using because it was, I don't know, it looked like it was tin or aluminum. This one is copper. Perfect. And then this is gonna have to run all the way to the front where that little fuse tap is. So I'm not sure how long that is, but I'm gonna do that right now. All right, so the ignition wire is run all the way out. I actually have it poking out right there. That's where I'm thinking about putting the switch. And super frustrating, I just ran the rest of that 6-gauge cable, and it's like this short, which when it comes to this stuff might as well be this short, right? So gotta figure out what we're doing. Maybe I'm gonna rip over to Canadian Tire and see what they have. I'm pretty sure if anything, it's gonna be booster cables that I'll have to slice up, but I don't know. Let's see what happens in the next clip. I haven't left yet. Just got off the phone with Chris. Mark the day, September 24th. He passed his learners. Hell yeah, buddy. I am so proud of you. I knew you would do it. Stick with it. You'll achieve whatever you want. This is the beginning of the rest of your life, my man. Everybody else is like, who the hell is this guy talking about? Well, if you've been following, you know. So congratulations again, Chris. We're going to do it. We're going to kill it. I'm very proud of you, dude. All right, now I got to go find some wire. Well, this is where the spirit of my grandfather is really going to take over. Because they don't have cable there. They don't sell cable. Nobody just sells cable. That's not our car. This is our car. So I got booster cables. So we're gonna hack these up and they should work just fine. If you do this, make sure you get 100% copper. That's what the wires are, the 6-gauge that I used. And these are actually 4-gauge, so they're even better. All right, Grandpa. Let's see. Just got back to the van, open the doors. All I can smell in here is the cable that we ran. Got a very distinct smell, but okay. So, like I was saying, this is totally something my grandpa would do. But you know what? A lot of other people would do this too, because cable's stupid expensive, right? And hard to come by. And I didn't feel like going on Amazon yet again and waiting however many days. I sound all tough when I'm saying that. I did go on Amazon first, and that didn't really appeal to me regardless, but they also didn't have what I needed in stock. So, this is gonna be kind of sad. These look like really nice jumper cables. They even come with their own little bag. Oh well. So, let's see here. These are 16 footers. Yeah, they're pretty decent quality. But you are not. You're meant for better things, jumper cables. Here's my other problem. With those 6 gauges, I was using this to cut it, but it's not the best. Like, it was actually making these bend because the cable was so thick. Byron, if you're watching, I wonder how the Benchmade will make out. I've never bought something and destroyed it so quickly. Maybe I should leave myself a little bit if I want to put these back together as booster cables. It's not going to happen. Oh, dang. Yeah, that worked like a hot damn. This Benchmade works way better than the wire cutters. Very cool. The instructions on how to boost a car. You know what? It's scary that they have to put that on there, but I believe that they're on there for the right reason. Okay, so now the plan with this is, as always, I gotta lug it, and run it behind the cabinet up to here, and then we will work on that ignition wire. I also picked up some more of, well, this is a used one, but some more of these to connect to the back of the switch. This is Good, I'm feeling good about this. This is a day that could have gotten wildly off track, and I feel like we're doing pretty good. All right, so got the one end lugged, and now I've run this behind all the counter. It was a pain in the butt. The bigger the cable, the more of an obnoxious task that is. And now I got my step liner pulled out, and I'm gonna run the wires underneath here. So this is the ignition wire. I'm gonna run it through here, run it along underneath, and I think, yeah, it's gonna be a pain in the butt, but I think I'm gonna have it come up here and then go up behind the dash and come out there. And then the negative is gonna run just here to the negative point. And then the positive, of course, we have to cut, fuse, and then lug the end of it. And it'll go underneath as well and then come up right there. Okay, so took the doghouse off. Didn't want to do that, but it's just 4 10mm bolts. I'm glad I did that because I've got this opening in the carpet. I was going to cut a hole to run the wire, but I forgot that these were here, so that should work perfectly. This stuff is disgusting. Yuck, look at it. Ugh. But anyways, works great. So now it's run under here. It's coming up there. I'll slap the doghouse back on here. The wire can kind of get pinched there. Won't actually get pinched, but it'll get held snug. We got lots to work with for that end of the switch. Then we just got to run one back to connect to this. So I guess I will do that now while we've got the floor mat torn up. A little bit of progress has been made. I hate loom. Loom sucks. If you've got any secrets or tips on how to get loom over wires, I'd love to hear it because damn. Anyway, I loomed the wires that run from here up to here. I've got power, and a ground. The ground I'm just gonna mount where the negative from the DC to DC gets mounted to as well. And that will make the light switch light up when it's on. Put them in loom just to give them some added protection because this is just bare sheet metal that's gonna be running underneath, plus this disgusting crap under here. I probably need a new floor. So now we are finally back on track and I can start fusing and lugging this end of the 4-gauge cable. So I ran out of red wire. This was all I had, that one that runs all the way to the DC to DC charger. So this one is also power, but it's black, and then this one is ground. So I'm just putting a piece of green shrink wrap on the ground. Great success so far in the switch. It lights up. So that's good. And the plan is, I'm probably not gonna film it, but once this is all done and set up and I take a break, I'll cut a hole probably in here and then we can actually cover it, and then we'll cover it and then the whole thing will be mounted right there. Oh my God, sometimes I'm the luckiest person ever. I'm doing the last step here before I like connect it all and call it a day, and hopefully the job well done. And so I'm lugging and making another cable out of what's left of that 4-gauge booster cables that we got to make a negative connection to this ground up here. So I drilled a hole in the box, of course, so the cable can get out, and then I'm running it back here so it's not going to interfere with the bed. And I'm like, oh no, did I not make that hole low enough for the slide on the bed? But I did, and I didn't measure. Somebody's looking over me. That was so lucky because I just closed it up and it works, so thanks. Okay, so I probably didn't think that out too well. This was really hard to get at because the positive cable that we mounted with the circuit breaker over here makes it, that's it. That's the only amount of room I have to work with, so I had to attach them this way, whatever. Okay, so it's all hooked up now, moment of truth. Let's get you watching the light to see if it works. Oh, these batteries are good. Oh, that's in the way. 13.16 volts. Okay, now, let me see. Zoom in. Where's the light? Okay, the light will turn on right above the dip switch. All right, let's see what happens when I turn it on. Come on. Oh, I can hear it. Let's see. What was it? It's 13.16. Now we're at 14.72. Buddy. Big. Great success. So it's still 14.76. Which, as far as I know, is a good voltage for these batteries. I'm gonna double check its spec sheet. But we look to be in good shape. Look at this. Talk about a good day's work, right? Like, just chewed to rat shit. All right, so that's how I installed my DC to DC charger. Oh, this tripod. That's it for now, guys. Little birdie tells me that, a little birdie tells me that Little Caesars has a bacon crusted pizza available now. I think I'm gonna be shoving that in my face tonight after I get cleaned up and, you know, maybe some polysporin. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you're not, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, comment, share the video. All of that stuff really helps me out. And just remember, as always, guys, until the next one, just remember to be happy, be creative, be yourselves, and most importantly, just be positive. Okay, that was really lame. I won't do it again. Bye.